Here is a question for you. What tool has been silently shaping the world of craftsmanship for thousands of years, yet barely gets the spotlight it deserves? If you guessed the Vise, you are spot on. This unsung hero of workshops everywhere has a story that stretches back further than you might expect. Today, we are diving deep into the origins of Vises, and trust me, it is a wild ride through history, ingenuity, and some jaw-dropping surprises. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Objectified, the channel where everyday objects get their moment to shine. I am your host, and today we are putting the Vise front and center. You know that trusty clamp sitting in garages and workshops, holding wood or metal steady while someone saws or drills. That is the Vise we are talking about. It is not just a tool, it is a piece of history that has been with us for millennia. In this video, we will uncover where Vises came from, how they evolved, why they matter across cultures, and even some quirky facts that might make you see them in a whole new light. So, grab a seat and let us get started on this journey through time. Let us kick things off with where it all began. The Vise does not exactly have a fancy birth certificate, but evidence points to ancient Egypt as one of its earliest stomping grounds. Around 3000 BCE, Egyptian craftsmen were already figuring out ways to hold materials steady while they worked. They used basic wooden clamps stick to planks tied together with rope or leather straps. These were not the sleek metal vises we know today, but they did the job. Archaeologists have found carvings and tools from that era showing workers securing wood or stone, and it is clear they needed something to keep everything in place. Fast forward to ancient Greece and Rome, and things start getting more interesting. By around 500 BCE, Greek blacksmiths were experimenting with metal. They came up with a crude version of a Vises, slabs of bronze or iron pressed together with a wedge or a lever. Roman engineers took it a step further. They were all about precision, building aqueducts and roads, so they needed tools to match. Their Vises started looking more like what we recognize: metal jaws tightened by hand or with a simple screw mechanism. These early designs were not mass-produced though. Every blacksmith or carpenter made their own, tweaking them for whatever job was at hand. Now, here is where it gets really fascinating. The Middle Ages rolled around and Europe was buzzing with trade and craftsmanship. By the 12th century, Vises were popping up in workshops across the continent. Blacksmiths in medieval England and France started using something called a bench vise, a metal clamp bolted to a workbench. It was not fancy, but it was a game changer. They figured out that a screw thread could tighten the jaws more precisely than a wedge. That little tweak laid the groundwork for everything that came later. So the Vise had its humble start. But how did it go from a clunky wooden clamp to the sleek, powerful tool we see today? Let us talk evolution. The Renaissance was a big turning point. Around the 15th and 16th centuries, Europe was obsessed with invention. Think Leonardo da Vinci sketching flying machines. Craftsmen were in that same mindset. Metalworking got a major upgrade, and Vises became more refined. Blacksmiths and machinists started forging Vises entirely out of iron, making them tougher and more reliable. The screw mechanism got smoother too, thanks to better threading techniques. Then came the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries, and that is when Vises really hit their stride. Factories were churning out goods at lightning speed, and workers needed tools that could keep up. Enter the cast iron Vise. These bad boys were mass-produced, affordable, and strong enough to handle heavy-duty jobs. Companies like Wilton and Record started popping up, specializing in Vises that could clamp anything from ship parts to furniture frames. The design got smarter. Two quick-release mechanisms, swiveling bases, and adjustable jaws made them more versatile than ever. Fast forward to the 20th century, and innovation kept rolling. Steel replaced cast iron in a lot of models, making Vises lighter and even tougher. Hydraulic and pneumatic Vises showed up, using fluid or air pressure to clamp things with insane force. Today, we have CNC machines, computer-controlled tools that pair with high-tech Vises for precision down to the micron. It is wild to think that a tool from ancient Egypt has evolved into something you would find in a robotics lab. Okay, so vices have a cool history and some slick upgrades, but why do they matter beyond the workshop? Let us zoom out and look at their cultural impact. In Europe, during the Middle Ages, vices were a symbol of craftsmanship. Guilds, those exclusive clubs for skilled workers, relied on them to train apprentices. A blacksmith who could forge a solid vise was not just a worker, he was an artist. That reputation stuck, and even today, a well-made vise carries a certain prestige in trade circles. Across the Atlantic, vices played a huge role in America's growth. During the 19th century, pioneers and settlers were building a nation from scratch. Vices were in every barn and forge, helping craft everything from wagon wheels to rifles. They became a quiet backbone of the frontier spirit, practical, no-nonsense, and built to last. You can still find vintage vices from that era in antique shops, and they are like little time capsules of that rugged history. In modern times, vices have a different kind of cultural clout. They are stars in the maker movement. DIY enthusiasts and YouTubers, maybe even some of you watching, use vices for woodworking, metalworking, or even quirky projects like custom knife making. They are not just tools anymore. They are part of a creative identity. Scroll through Instagram or TikTok, and you will see vices holding everything from jewelry to motorcycle parts. They bridge old-school craftsmanship with today's obsession with hands-on creation. Now, let us lighten things up with some fun facts about vices. Did you know the biggest vise ever made weighs over 1,000 pounds? It was built by a company called Yost in the early 1900s, and it could crush a car if it wanted to. Not exactly something you would keep in your garage, but it shows how far people have pushed this tool's limits. Here is another one. Vices have been to space. NASA engineers used custom vices to assemble parts of the Apollo spacecraft in the 1960s. When you are bolting together something that is going to the moon, you need a grip you can trust. That is pretty cool for a tool that started as 2 sticks and some rope. And get this, there's a vise out there worth more than your car. One last tidbit. The word vise comes from the Old French vis, meaning screw. It is a nod to that game-changing screw mechanism from the Middle Ages. So, every time you twist a vise shut, you are literally turning a piece of history. So, there you have it, the full story of the vise, from ancient Egypt to the space age. It started as a simple way to hold things steady, grew into a powerhouse of innovation, and carved out a spot in cultures around the world. Whether it is a blacksmith in medieval Europe or a dyer in their basement today, the vise has been there, quietly making work possible. It is not flashy, but it is essential, and that is what makes it so fascinating. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the vise, give this video a thumbs up. Hit really helps the channel grow. And do not forget to subscribe to Objectified for more stories about the objects that shape our lives. Got a favorite tool you want us to cover next? Type it in the comments below. Read every single one. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. It is always a blast to uncover the hidden histories of stuff we take for granted. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.